So Logic's been taking some fire for saying the N-word, which is kind of crazy to me. But I found a podcast clip where he breaks it down.
Right?
Yeah.
So instead of just reacting to that, watching that little 2-second clip where he says it with his dad, I thought I'd see his what he thought.
I know there's been like a lot of
Let's figure it out.
That statistic.
I'll give you my thoughts later on.
Fact has been a big part of that criticism of your career.
Yeah, like
okay.
I want to tiptoe this. All right. It's okay. So you're half black, right?
Yeah.
Because I know there's been like a lot of like that statistic, that fact has been a big part of that criticism of your career.
Yeah, like 7 years ago. But yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Here's the comedy of this. This video is how old? From 2022. Logic said, yeah, that was a big criticism from like 7 years ago. Little did he know. But even in 2022, he was getting, people were talking about it. So nah, it's been your whole career.
Same.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your own use of the N-word, and like, is that something that you use like at all? Like,
and is there an extent? Are you allowed to give it out? Are you not allowed to give it out? Is there
like
rules?
a pass?
Are you being funny?
Yeah. No, now I want to hear hold on. I want the
big question.
Are you fucking with me?
I swear to God.
Okay.
No, they talk about it on social media. My answer is a little bit more. First of all, and then you could go. But people.
Well, fam, there's no such thing as giving somebody the N-word pass. That's what kind of concept is that? You think all black people would be coming together and having a meeting and then we put up on a board? So who got the N-word pass this week? Who are we gonna not stomp out if they say it to bruh? Like what? No, bruh. I don't care who said you could say it. You come around me saying that, wow, so we gonna have issues.
Talk about that all the time. I know very well that pass does not exist. It doesn't fucking exist. You can't be given a pass.
I don't think there is.
I don't give a fuck
I don't
who
think
gives
there
this.
is an end-all be-all in any race, black, white, brown, whatever, that can define who can do what, say what, be what, how they should be. There is no end-all fucking be-all. It's just like when I called Lena Waithe and I asked her, I was like, because I used the F word in a rap. And I don't like to use this word, but I used the word because I talked about how somebody had used this word against me. And I was like, I said this thing. And she was like, oh, okay. And like, she was like, yeah, somebody said that about you and you're just saying what you said. And I was like, hey, Lena, I call you not as the voice of all gay people or the voice of all black people or the voice of all gay black people. I call you as my friend who is a gay woman. And I sit here and I use this word about how somebody attacked me with it, and I'm just speaking my truth. And she goes, bro, you're Logic. She's like, somebody's got to really stretch their neck because you used a word the correct way and be angry at you about it.
Yeah, but motherfuckers really be stretching.
Oh, I know.
Nowadays.
I know.
Also, I'd like to elaborate.
Georgie, please, for the love of God, pull the mic close to your mouth.
I can't because he keeps falling. That's why I kept
Do
moving.
something
I've been
about it.
sitting like
You got to
this.
wear headphones or something, George.
Okay, I apologize. The reason why I wanted to elaborate, because it did sound like I was being funny. So thank you so much. When I was growing up, I was called it in a different way. I was called the sand N-word. And all my Middle Eastern friends use it, and some Spanish people use it, but I don't ever feel comfortable using it. So like, what is the takeaway from that?
I personally think it's like your culture and where you grow up. Like, that's just a real thing. It's like,
Don't let Logic get y'all beat up. It's not. It's not. If you're not black, don't use it. It's very simple. It's very simple.
there's white people in the hood who use this word.
all the time.
Motherfuckers can act like that's not it. Oh, and all their homies are black and they grew up in this culture. It just is what the
So
fuck
that's
it
what
is.
I mean.
And the second they step out of their friend bubble and try to use it, it's not going to be the same thing. Trust me, I've seen it. It's not going to be the same thing.
So
I can't sit here and say what's right and not. I don't know. Like, I don't give a fuck. I grew up and yeah, of course I use the word. Are you joking? What are you talking about? I'm fucking black. Yes. But I'm not just, I'm also like, I'm not just walking down the street. I'm like making sure everyone knows I got a biracial shirt on and shit. I'm like, this is my dad.
The irony of this is actually what Logic is doing right now. I disagree with Logic. I definitely think he does go and talk a lot about being biracial and parades his dad. This is ironic. Is anybody going back and watching this clip? Because the reason he's getting backfired from saying the N-word right now, it was a clip with his dad. Now, my thoughts on Logic using the N-word. Now, Logic is half black, right? He doesn't favor blackness. Like, the way racism works is racism doesn't work by the most progressive person, right? So Logic is black. He's black, right? But if a racist cop pulls us over, Logic would have to let him know he's black. Me is different. And that's who you kind of judge racism off, is the most racist person in the room. Racism is about how you are treated because of your skin color, because of your race. If you have to tell somebody you are of that race, it's not going to affect you the same way it affects somebody. It's the same thing with sexism, right? If somebody sees a woman walking down the street and they're sexist, they're going to treat them a certain way off rip. There's nothing that they have to say. It's the same thing with you're racist against Asians, racist against black people, Hispanic people, whatever, right? If you got to tell the racist you're racist to receive the racism, it's not the same thing. Now, do I think Logic can use it? Absolutely. If you don't got a problem with Drake using it, J. Cole using it, then even though they favor more of black men, Logic technically is. Now, I don't know what his percentage is. It's not my job to sit here and break down the percentage. If I was walking down the street and I didn't know who he was, I would think he was white, 100% white. But if he got it in him, he could say it. That's what it is. Now, if we all decide tomorrow mixed people can't say it, then he can't say it. But what I will say is I feel, when I heard him say it in the clip, I did feel a little weird. It felt really awkward. It just did not feel natural. And maybe you have to be like black to understand what it is. The word in itself is kind of a word I wish. It's a complicated word, but it's just like, don't take logic about this and think you're not gonna get whooped on. That's all I'm saying, because he's got some weird takes about it. But
check out these pictures. These are my nieces. All right, what's up?
You bring your credentials.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's funny because, well, it's not funny, but you bring up this conversation you had with somebody about this derogatory homosexual term, right? When you were using it just to talk about something that happened to you. We saw this happen with Rogan earlier in the year.
Oh yeah,
and it's a very interesting talking point where it's like, can you even now use the term in an educational?
I think that's bullshit, and y'all could blurp it out, bleep it out, whatever. I said I open up about my feelings. They call me a fuck you. I had it. My mentality was shattered. You want to know why I retired? Because I was uninspired and everything was fuck you, pay me. I tried something different and they say I'm not the same me. You can never tame me. I'd rather fail doing something new than doing the same shit every day. Fuck you. Like, that's just the realest thing, and it's honest. And it's like, bro, okay, cancel me. Cancel me, internet, for spreading a positive fucking message and calling out these pieces of shit who use these words and being like, this is my truth. This is what the fuck I went through. I get the fuck out of here. Like, are you joking, internet?
But similarly to any other word that has entered that space,
Intent.
For sure.
It comes with a
but it's no longer about intent.
No, I hear what you're saying, but you have to understand, like, the pain, similarly to the other word that we started with, in very different ways, that is innately built into that term. Death, fucking lifelong shame, and just.
He seems to get it the most to me. I'm somebody who, even like with Logic saying, well, somebody called me the F word, so I wouldn't even use that in a story. To tell a story. I've never understood that argument where someone says, I have to, if I heard the N-word, if I heard nigga, and I'm telling a story about my experience hearing it, then I have to use the word. Says who? That's like saying, if I tell a story about me being in a fight, I have to actually fight you for you to understand. So I can't tell you that they were stomping on my head without me stomping on your head. Why? You think whoever you're talking to is so stupid that if you say the N-word, you say the F-word, just literally N-word, they won't understand what you said? I've never... now, I understand that the N-word situation can be confusing, especially to a non-black person. I fully understand that. I fully take that. Sometimes it's a confusing thing. But this is what I'm going to say. Take it this way, right? If somebody came to you and you cared about them and they told you, yo, I went through SA abuse when I was young, so when you, can you please just not make those kind of jokes around me? I know it sounds kind of sensitive. I know it sounds kind of soft, but I have trauma behind this, right? If you care about that person, what you gonna say? You would say, I won't use it. You're not gonna argue. You're not gonna be like, well, if I'm telling a story about it, I have to say it, right? It's just a situation of, do you care enough about the person that you're talking to not say it if they ask you to? And if you don't, that's your prerogative. But prepare for whatever comes after that. He seems to understand the most what's tied behind that word. And logic, even his breakdown of it seems even more like it makes it seem even more and more like, nah, bro, you don't understand this. And you might not be just because you got the DNA, you might not really get this.
All these feelings are built into that. So when people use it so flippantly, now, by the way, someone right here, me raising my hand, who from the East Coast used both of those terms growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course I did. I was from that area. I use those terms all the time.
But we never used it in the way that people are.
But the thing that I'm curious about is is it not okay to have a educational conversation around it? Because I believe the way Joe was using it in a lot of these videos that came out earlier in the year was to bring it up, talking about Django Unchained and the way it was used in that movie, for example. Like, how can we talk about...
No, not every one of Joe Rogan's uses of that word was educational. Have you seen the compilation? I've watched Joe Rogan's podcast for a long time. He'll just joke it. He used to just joke and use the word. It wasn't always about educational. Like, what? And Joe Rogan's came out and said that was stupid. So it's like...
about it without using it. Do you just use the letter?
Yeah, you don't have to. It's a very easy fix.
What the letter?
Yeah, bro. How hard is it to just not fucking say it?
I don't say it.
No, you don't.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
I know. It's just...
He
I
gets
think
it.
artists
How hard
and
is it?
creatives with intent do whatever you do, bro. It's like Chappelle. Chappelle uses both of those fucking words. And I look at Chappelle and I'm like, wow. I just learned a lesson. I laughed. He made fun of everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
He did that. Like, there you go. Like, I think very few people can use the words and should use the words in certain situations. But guess what? That's what I said. I said, I think. I don't fucking know. I'm not the end all be all. It's going to be Logic said on Impulsive that you could, like, it's like, bro, no, I didn't. Like, I don't know. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. And, and even when what did I say? I said earlier, I said the F word. And then we're talking about it. And I'm like, oh, you motherfuckers want context? This is what I said.
You won't get it. It'll get bleep.
I don't give a shit if it gets bleep.
It ain't gonna make it.
What I'm saying is,
I don't think.
it will. You'd be going against everything he just said.
And it's on my album.
They did censor it though.
It's on my album, like that just came out. Yeah.
God.
It's out. It's there.
Oh,
but
God.
no, it's not that I don't give a fuck. It's that I give a fuck so much that someone called me a
right.
And I went, damn.
They censored
That
it
really
again.
hurt my feelings. I'm gonna write a song about that.
See,
What, you gonna
seems
cancel
fine.
me?
No, but
that logic doesn't even make sense. Essentially, you're saying since you're so offended, you got called the word, right? That it's okay for you to say the word so people know how offended you were. Huh? We're not even talking about the N-word no more. Let's throw that off. The F-word, that logic is stupid. Like, that's really, what? I think you're thinking more about yourself at that point.
that seems fine.
But
If
also,
you're
like, at
using
what
it
point do we stop giving a fuck about cancellations? Realistically, at what point? Why are we working so hard to be worried about
I
what
think
the audience
pieces
thinks?
of shit should be canceled. If you're a fucking homophobic, racist piece of shit, fuck you.
Yeah, but doesn't it water it down when we cancel so many other people?
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, you're right.
You
You're
know what I'm saying?
right.
I look at it like when the whole Me Too movement was going around and girls were just mad at a guy and they were like, yo, and I'm like, bro, you're taking away from the people that are actually deserving to get canceled. So like every fucking time somebody says something like yours, I would hear it and not once I'd be like, that guy needs to go. But there's people in the world that are like, he needs to go. I don't get this. I will never understand this.
All right, that was that. Apparently, that's his take on it. So take that with context when you hear people talk about Logic. You heard my takes on it. I actually like that dude with the hats take on it and what Logan said more than I like Logic. But hey, it's a conversation.